Attitudes are enduring systems of positive or negative evaluations, emotional feelings, and action tendencies with respect to an individual's social world. And mental states developed through experience, which are always ready to exert an active influence on an individual's response to any conditions and circumstances that the attitudes are directed towards. Attitudes also mean is a positive or negative feelings concerning objects, people, or events. And attitudes are less stable than values. And these are the components of attitude. First is belief or the cognitive. Second, feeling or affective. And third is action or cognitive. An attitude may be defined as an internal affective orientation explaining an individual's action. So they comprise three components: cognitive, affective, and cognitive. Cognitive component refers to the opinions or schema held out about an object. The affective component refers to the emotion or salience towards the attitude object. Finally, the cognitive component of the attitude is the disposition for action. It is the combination of these components that determines the attitude held by an individual. Next is values. So basically, values are traits or qualities that are considered worthwhile. They represent your highest priorities and deeply held driving forces. When you are part of an organization, you bring your deeply held values and beliefs to the organization. And in the book, values represents our ethical, moral codes of conduct and are highly influenced by peer group norms and culture. They contain a judgmental element of what is right or wrong or desirable, and they offer a standard that will guide our conduct and act as a process to evaluate and judge our own behavior and that of others. A value is an ideal to which the individual subscribes. It represents basic convictions that a specific mode of conduct is preferable in a personal or social sense to any other, and it is relatively stable and enduring. Values also means that it is a basic convictions about what is important to the individual. They contain a judgmental element of what is right, good, and desirable. Categories of values. First is benevolence, provide care for others. Next is hedonism, seeking sensual and emotional fulfillment. Stimulation, sense of excitement. Achievement, success from making use of one's talents. Universalism, attachment to the principles of equality and justice. Power, status and respect from others. Security, feeling safe, internal and external harmony. Tradition, attachment to old ways of doing things. Next is self-direction, reliance on independent ways of thinking and acting. Last is conformity, curtailing impulses and actions likely to violate norms or disadvantage others. Points to remember. Values reflect changes in society and are subject to change from one generation to the next. Globalization has had a part to play in shaping values, as has the emergence of true spouse careers, better life-work balance, with an emphasis on the wage earner spending more time with the family and being less likely to make sacrifices for the sake of their employers. And last is, the younger generation are more likely to put a premium on friendship, happiness, and the pursuit of pleasure. Next is work ethic. It is a principle of a person that performs work as the intrinsically good, from which is acquired a certain degree. He or she is hardworking, keen to accomplish things, is rational, economical, thrifty, and can be expected to receive adequate intrinsic rewards. Business ethic. So basically, ethics is the beliefs about what is right and wrong, good and bad, has become a serious issue with some organizations. So the principle of business ethics is that companies and their employees need a framework to deal with issues both internal and external to the organization that have a moral dimension. Attitude formation. Personality and socialization are important influences in the formation of attitudes. The influence of socialization at work in the context of attitude formation was mentioned. Functions of attitude. Attitudes perform an important function in helping individuals adopt a stable view of the world in which they live. The functions of attitudes were discussed with reference to Katz's system of classification, the instrumental or adjustive, ego-defensive, expressive, and knowledge functions. In this context, a brief reference was made to the demands of the work environment. Prejudice. It is an attitude that predisposes a person to act in an unfavorable or favorable way to another person or group of people. With respect to prejudice, which mainly has a negative connotation, when discussing attitudes, the influence exerted by personality, beliefs, group, and culture is noted. The issue of discrimination as an offshoot of prejudice was raised. Suggestions were made about ways of reducing prejudice. Attitude change. Attitude change was examined from three angles: sources of attitude change, the factors contributing to attitude change, and balance and consistency. Using Kelman's classification system, the sources of attitude change are compliance, identification, and internalization.